In Athens, Georgia taking on Auburn. Excuse me while I check the scores here that are going on as we close out the first window of college football games that began at 12 o'clock. Of course, it's Georgia and Auburn coming up at 3:30. Someone sent us this shot of Sanford Stadium a little earlier in the day. Looks like the stadium is full, as you would expect, as Georgia takes on Auburn in a big SEC East clash today in Athens. Right now, going on in the SEC and around the country, Mississippi State, 4-1 on the year, is taking it to Arkansas, 34-17 at the moment. Let's see, Florida is beating Missouri 24-17 in Gainesville. So Florida is ahead of Missouri. You have kind of an interesting score. You have Michigan up on Indiana 17-10. Now that game is being played in Bloomington, Indiana, in Memorial Stadium. So you might have something cooking there with Indiana sticking really close to Michigan, which is the number 5th ranked team in the country. You have TCU 31, Kansas 24. That's a match of top 20 teams. Tennessee is taking it to LSU. Now, this is very disappointing. When anytime you look at a game, an SEC game, you always think, well, what will benefit Georgia? Who wins? Who loses? How's it going to benefit Georgia in the SEC East, race? And boy, it would have been great today if LSU could have taken care of business and beat Tennessee, but that's not going to happen. They're in the fourth quarter, 11:47 left to go. Texas is taking it to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has fallen off the cliff. Texas 49, Oklahoma nothing. Right now, let's see. Any other games of interest that are going on right now? Nothing that we can see. But the game that we're interested in begins in about 30 minutes. If you have a comment or a question, hey, what's your prediction for your score for this game? I forget what I said yesterday, but what I said yesterday really doesn't, really doesn't count. It's what I feel at the moment. And here's what I feel like. Georgia's going to win this game 37-10. Will you write that down so I can remember? 37-10. So that's what we're saying about Georgia. Ann, how you doing? Good, but not really a fan of this program. Well, thank you very much, Ann, for thank you for your support. We appreciate it. Yeah, I know. There's always folks out there. All right. So Georgia is coming into the game a 29.5-point favorite over Auburn. Georgia leads the series 62-56-8. Georgia won last year 34-10 in Auburn. The Bulldogs have won 5 straight games over the Auburn Tigers. So there you go. Kirby Smart has had his way with Auburn. Since he has become the head football coach at the University of Georgia. And Kirby Smart, the University of Georgia, 6-1 against Auburn since the what? Okay, 6-1 against Auburn since he has become the head coach of the University of Georgia. Bryce, how you doing, my man? Good to have you with us. Appreciate you stopping in here as we're getting ready for Georgia and Auburn. So what is your prediction? I say 34. Did I say 34-10? 34-10. No, 34-7. I don't know what I said. I'm writing it down right now. Write it down. 34-7. Georgia wins today. Javon Bullard will be in the defensive backfield for the University of Georgia. He'll be back as a safety today. Javon, of course, was not in the not on the team, not with the team in Missouri last week because of some, legal issues. Bryce says 42-10. Georgia wins. Okay, so I hope we're not overly optimistic. I hope Georgia takes care of business today. Of course, last week when Georgia won over Missouri, I almost said lost, but it felt like, for a long time they were going to lose. But last week, Georgia beat Missouri 26-22 in Columbia, and, Bulldog fans were not really happy with that score, obviously. And you combine that with, the lackluster showing that Georgia had with Kent State the week before, then that makes Georgia fans a little nervous for today. But the guys who set the odds on who's going to win the game, they feel pretty confident in Georgia. Georgia is almost a 30-point favorite in the game today. Auburn is 3-2. They have not scored 17 points, more than 17 points in the last 3 games. Brian Harsin, you got to say he's on the hot seat. That's the head coach at Auburn. And so, there's a lot of nuances to this game today, but it pretty well has felt like if Georgia's going to take care of business, then they'll take care of Auburn today. Now, Jalen Carter will not be playing today on the defensive line for the University of Georgia. Carter, of course, was injured. He has an MCL sprain. That occurred in last week's game against Missouri. And, it was a result of a cut block. No penalty was called, but probably should have been. And Jay, it's one of those blocks, that the guys go low and they're cutting across them, and the running play is going cat corner to your defensive line and that kind of thing. Anyway, Jalen Carter was injured. He won't be playing today. No word on when he might be available. So you're going to see probably a lot of Bear Alexander today. Now, Bear Alexander, highly touted recruit out of Texas. He's a freshman. He's been having a pretty good freshman, freshman season so far. And now he hasn't played a lot. He did play against Kent State pretty good bit. But not just Bear Alexander. But I love saying his name, Bear Alexander. But you're also going to have a lot of other guys. There'll be a lot of rotation on that defensive line today for the University of Georgia, trying to keep Auburn under control. And a couple of other things. This week's AP poll, Alabama #1, taking over the #1 spot after Georgia lost that #1 spot last week as a result of the game against Missouri. Now, Georgia got more first place votes than Alabama, but Alabama got more overall votes than Georgia, so that catapulted Alabama to #1. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until it matters where you stand in the poll, in the college football polls. Alabama #1, Georgia #2, Ohio State #3. Ohio State will be playing Michigan State a little later on in Lansing. Doesn't look like it's a big threat to Ohio State, but Michigan is having everything they can handle with Indiana this afternoon. They're #4, Clemson 5, Southern California 6, and let's see, Oklahoma State 7, Tennessee 8, Ole Miss 9, and Penn State #10. That's the latest AP poll. Amber says Georgia's going to win. I suppose that's what you say. Well, I agree with you, Miss Amber. We do look for a Georgia win today, and for my sake, just for my sake, I would appreciate it if Georgia would go ahead and win this game early so I could relax. That thing last week, say I was watching the Braves on one device and Georgia on the other device, and it was a rough evening. So we need, for my own sake, we need to have a pretty good game today. Let's take care of business, and just for me. It's all about me. So anyway, let's see. Miss Jean says, hello. Hello, Miss Jean. Good to have you stopping in with us. A recap so far on the Georgia football schedule. Georgia beat Oregon 49-3, beat Samford 33-0, beat South Carolina 48-7, Kent State 39-22. And then Georgia beat Missouri 36-22. Take a nap at halftime. Yeah, I might do that. Hey, Russell, how you doing, my man? Long time no see. Well, that'll have to come later, my nap. Georgia playing Auburn today at 3:30. Then Georgia has Vanderbilt next week. at 3:30. That'll be the homecoming game. And then Florida the following week in Jacksonville at 3:30. Then Georgia takes a break. No, there's a week. Georgia has a week off between Vanderbilt and Florida. After the Florida game, then Georgia has Tennessee. And boy, I'm telling you, Tennessee looks really good today against LSU. So Eastern North Carolina. Yeah, how you doing, BJ? Good to have you in with us today. I love North Carolina. If you got family in North Carolina, love to visit North Carolina. And so it's good to have you checking in with us today. Brenda says she's looking for a great game today against for the Bulldogs, and I am too. After the Tennessee game, Georgia then hits the road for 2 tough games. Now, Mississippi State, Starkville, Mississippi State taking care of Arkansas today on November 12th, and then November 19th, the game in Kentucky. Georgia will travel to Lexington to take on Kentucky. Then you have Georgia Tech coming to Sanford Stadium to close out the regular season on November 26th. So, there you go. We're knee deep into football season now, and some of these games are going to be something. Let's see, 12 o'clock games. Tennessee's going to beat LSU. Mississippi State looks like it's going to handle Arkansas. Florida and Missouri. What was that? 17-10 a while ago. So you don't know what you have brewing there. Auburn and Georgia, that's at 3:30 on CBS. 4 o'clock, you have Ole Miss traveling to Vanderbilt. Go Vanderbilt. Always pull for the Commodores. Now, they're not going to beat Ole Miss probably, but hey, you never know. It's on the road. 7:30 tonight, South Carolina at Kentucky. And so that's kind of an interesting game. South Carolina at Kentucky. Will Levis is not going to be playing. Apparently, he has a turf toe injury, and so the starting quarterback for Kentucky will not be playing. South Carolina has Spencer Rattler, but man, he's having a stinky of a season. So you don't know. South Carolina at Kentucky, and then of course, just an interesting game. Texas A&M traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. That'll be at 8 o'clock on CBS. That's the 8 o'clock game. So Texas A&M and Alabama. So who you think in that game? Of course, Alabama's undefeated, number 1 in the country. Texas A&M comes into the game 3-2 on the year. Let's see. Is that all we have? Just one thing. You always love when your Bulldogs get recognition. Well, UGA football senior kicker Jack Podlesny was named the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week last week. He kicked 4 field goals, didn't miss any, kicked 4 field goals against Missouri, and hit both of his point after attempts in the 26-22 win for Georgia over Missouri last week. So, but I want to check the scores right quick to see what's happening. Let's see. Let's do a little refresh here. Mississippi State now 40-17 over Arkansas. Let's see. Florida 24-17 over Missouri. 35 seconds left in that game. 35 seconds. So it looks like Florida may hold on against Missouri. Fourth quarter, you got Michigan 17, Indiana 10. That's in Indiana. Now that may be of significance for Georgia because Michigan right now is the 5th ranked team in the country. So you want them all to lose, but Georgia, okay. Kansas and TCU now tied 31-31. Kansas number 19 in the country, TCU number 17 in the country. Kind of interesting. Purdue is beating Maryland 24-23. Looks like Tennessee, fourth quarter, 6:28 left to go. Tennessee 37, LSU 13. So, and Texas has beaten Oklahoma 49-0. Boy, Oklahoma has fallen off the table here. So that's the latest on those scores. So we're looking forward to a big game today for Georgia against Alabama. We're going to get out of here, give you a chance you a chance to go, get your Coca-Cola and your popcorn and get everything together. Send whoever is going to bother you away so that you can, concentrate on the game. And let's go, Dogs. We'll be back in here now at halftime to get your opinion on what's happening in the game. Boy, halftime last week with Georgia and Missouri, we were not happy campers. So anyway, you can definitely join us, and we'll see what's happening at halftime and then after the game. By the way, we are so appreciative of Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs. When it comes time for you to finance or refinance your home, Southeast Mortgage, we've met those people. We had a meeting with those folks this week. They're great people, down-to-earth people, smart. Hello. They know their business. They know what they're doing. And they really do want to help people. I mean, that's a business line and all of that. I understand that. But these folks they really want to help folks because they know when they help people, it helps them. And they're just good folks. So when it comes time for you to finance or refinance your home, you can call a lot of people, and you should. But I'm going to tell you, one call you need to make is Southeast Mortgage. You can go online, find, their website online. And when you go to the stadium, Sanford Stadium, as pictured behind us, you'll see signage everywhere for Southeast Mortgage. They love the Bulldogs, great supporters of the University of Georgia. So when it comes time to finance or refinance your home, check them out. Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lenders of the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back at halftime. Go Dogs!